Yeah. Thank you.
Dear participants, good morning, Madhuri Madam. Good morning, our IRD expert. Good morning, hello, sir. Today we are celebrating International Women's Day at our CIRDAP. Today our DG sir is not here. He is in official visit in India. So today's session will share our Director Research, Professor Muhammad Helaluddin sir. Now I would like to invite Madhuri Madam to share her screen and talk about. First, I will tell her biography. Today's topic is enhancing women's political participation through Mahila Sabha. Mahila Sabha means Women's Forum. Dr. N. Madhuri, she will present her presentation. About Madhuri Madam, now she is working in NIRD, she is the head of Center for Gender Studies and Development, National Institute of Rural Development and Panchayati. And she has done her PhD in sociology from Osmania University, India. She has many publications. Basically, she is working in gender and local government, gender and livelihood, self-help groups, nutrition related. All this research work she has done. And she has so many publications, 41 articles, 12 books, 24 models, and 13 books reviewed. And she has done a research project also, 56. And she has done so many training as a coordinator, 175 training she has done. And she is in very experienced in gender and local government. Now I like to Madhuri ma'am to share her screen and take this her presentation and share this. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Usha. Director Research and all my friends from CIRDAP and all the listeners and participants of the webinar series today. A very warm good morning to all of you, and also a happy Women's Day, which you're going to celebrate tomorrow. So before I share my screen, for the next half an hour or so, I'll be presenting the outcomes of one of the projects which we have run on political participation of women, especially organizing the Mahila Sabhas and Bala Sabhas. So I'll take an opportunity to present the outcomes of that particular project in today's webinar series. Usha, give me a minute to share the screen. Yeah, is it visible, Usha?
Yes, madam, it's visible.
Okay, thank you. So basically, India has been investing a lot on its women's empowerment programs ever since independence, through various policies, through various programs, in various sectors, sectors like education, enhancing the women's literacy rates, increasing the enrollment rates of girls, decreasing the dropout rates, and in sectors like health, where women's access to various health services, a lot of focus has been on that, access to women's health services. Focus also has been on institutional deliveries and decreasing the infant mortality rate as well as the maternal mortality rate. And apart from that, India is also investing a lot on skilling the youth, especially the girls between 18 to 35 years, making them employable and see to it that they join the workforce, and increasing the workforce participation of women. And also in addressing the nutritional security of women through the basic institutions like Anganwadis, where the nutritional requirements of pregnant, lactating mothers and children below 6 years are met. And apart from that, India has also been investing on the political participation of women, especially at the local governance level, by reserving 1/3 of the seats, 33% of the seats to the women, especially. So these are some of the empowerment measures India has embarked upon post-independence. And especially when it comes to political participation of women, women's participation in decision making is extremely essential and crucial, because women interests are to be incorporated into the governance structures, especially the political women coming into the political processes, women being part of the governance structures is also one of the parameter for political empowerment of women. Especially including women in the local governments is an essential step towards creating gender equal opportunities and gender sensitive policies. Women have different needs, women have different requirements, and they have different perspectives on social and political issues. And because of this, it becomes all the more important to involve women in governments, to incorporate the varied societal viewpoints and making them part of the decision-making processes and bringing them into the leadership positions. And especially because women are involved in, especially at the household level, women are involved in several activities. At the community level also, women are involved in several activities. So definitely they will have better insights about the practical and the real issues at the community level and the household level. So bringing them into the governance structures, bringing them into the Grama Sabhas and Mahila Sabhas will ensure that their concerns are voiced and their viewpoints are heard. So with that background in mind, we have give me a minute, I'm not able to change my slide. Yeah. So if you look at women's political representation in some of the South Asian countries, you can see that on an average, women hold only 7% of the ministerial position and 18% in the national parliaments in all the 8 countries of South Asian region. The global average you see is 25%, but then if you come to the South Asian countries, they do not cross more than 10%. In India, if you take the case of India, in the national parliaments, in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, in the House of People and the Council of States, the representation of Usha, I think you need to mute all others for a while at least. Yeah. So you can see that women's representation in the higher levels, the political representation does not cross more than 14% in India. But fortunately, at the local governance level, because of the affirmative action, wherein we have reserved 33% of the seats for women, you can see that more and more women are entering into the local government processes. And in the case of Nepal, if you see, they do not cross 33% in the House of Representatives and also 33% in the National Assembly. In the case of Pakistan, also it's around 20% in the National Assembly and 22% in the Senate. And in the case of Afghanistan, slightly better, maybe women hold around 27% of the seats in parliament. In case of Bangladesh, again, it's around 20% in the national parliament. And in the case of Sri Lanka and Maldives, they hold around 5% of the seats in the parliament. So this is the case when it comes to women's political representation in South Asia. And when you look at women's political representation in India, after independence, India has granted equal voting rights for both men and women. However, when it comes to women's turnout in elections, in the last elections, we have seen that only 67% of eligible women voters have turned out to cast their vote, compared to 71% of the eligible men. And as I said, representation of women in parliament slowly increased from 5% in the first House of People to around 14% in the current Lok Sabha. And at the state level, at the provincial level, if you look at various provinces and the representation of women in the provincial assemblies, on an average, it doesn't cross 10% across the different provinces of the country. And only 2 out of our 26 chief ministers happen to be women. And when it comes to India's ranking in the women's representation in the parliament, we rank around 148 out of 193 countries as per the Inter-Parliamentary Union in 2022. And if you look at participation of women in various legislative assemblies across the different provinces of country, we usually try to look at how many percentage of women have contested in the elections and how many percent of seats have been won by women. So on an average, if you see the lowest being 3.37 and the highest being 10% of women who have contested the elections, and the highest percentage of women who have won in any province does not cross around 14%. It varies from 3% to 14%. This is across the different provinces I'm showing. So everywhere it's the same scenario, starting from 3%, which is the lowest in percentage of women who have contested, to around 10 to 15% who have contested. And also percentage of seats who have been won by the women, it's again 5 to 12% is the margin. Now, if you look at women's representation in the local governments, India has brought a constitutional amendment way back in 1992, wherein 1/3 seats have been reserved for women in the Panchayati Raj institution. Panchayati Raj institution are a 3-tiered structure at the local governance level, starting from the village level to the middle tier, that is the block level, to the district panchayat. So in all these 3 tiers, 33% of the seats have been reserved for the women in 1992. So this paved the way for women's political participation and women coming into the governance structures at the local government level, at the grassroots level, and also occupying the leadership positions in all the 3 tiers, starting from village panchayat to the district panchayat. And as per the latest data of the Ministry of the Local Governance, women occupy around 44% of the elected panchayat positions at the village level. They also occupy 50% of district panchayat member positions, and they occupy around 47% panchayat chairperson positions at all levels. Going beyond the 33% reservation, many of the provinces in the is and as I said, women's leadership in Panchayati Raj institutions has been a significant development in promoting the grassroots democracy and gender equality, especially from the political empowerment point of view. They have women leaders occupying various leadership positions in the grassroots level governance structures. This has brought about a different perspective to governance, often focusing on issues such as health, education, sanitation, nutrition, and women's empowerment, which are very close to their heart because these are the issues day and night they grapple with. And women also have been instrumental in advocating various policies and programs that address their needs and concerns. And elected women representatives, especially, they have contributed to improving the development outcomes in the rural India. But unfortunately, the elected women representatives even today have to grapple with a lot of constraints and a lot of challenges, especially the gender bias which is existing in the society, the kind of limited resources they have at their disposal, and lack of support from the male counterparts within the family and outside the family also, and various social barriers, the cultural barriers. So all of them inhibit women to come and actively participate in the political processes and occupy the leadership positions. And additionally, there are also concerns about the quality of women's participation. It's not enough that women come into the political processes, women occupy the leadership positions, but then are they being very effective in discharging their responsibilities and duties? So when you question that, the quality is again questionable. Do we provide them an enabling environment so that they can function independently and they can function effectively in that leadership position? There again, we come across a requirement and need for investing on continuous capacity building initiatives to enhance their leadership skills. So if you look at some of the barriers which constrain women from coming into the political processes and from coming into the governance structures, the first thing which comes to my mind is the patriarchal mindset, the patriarchal system which is prevalent in the society, and how women are often considered inferior to men. And this particular mindset is deeply ingrained in the society and affects the way people perceive the women's abilities. It affects the way uh, people perceive the women's efficacy to lead and to participate in politics and to also occupy the leadership positions. And coupled with the patriarchal mindset, you also have the social norms and stereotypes, which always try to promote the traditional gender roles, and wherein women are encouraged to come into the public sphere and occupy such kind of leadership positions, especially in the politics. And coupled with social norms and stereotypes, you also have limited access to education as one of the major factors, because women's education levels are still low compared to men's education levels. Their awareness levels are also quite low. So this also hinders their ability to actively participate in the politics. And when it comes to women's representation in political parties, how many political parties are actively promoting the women candidates? So there again, it makes it difficult for them to rise through the ranks and secure party nominations for the elections, because not many women are encouraged by the political parties to contest in the elections. To the extent that reservations are given, political parties comply. But going beyond that, it becomes extremely challenging for women to come into the political parties and secure the seats to contest in the elections. So this lack of representation again can be attributed to the gender bias within the political parties and the perception that women are not as electable as men. Then coupled with these factors, you also have issues like violence against women. So once women enter into the politics, once they actively start participating in the politics, they are often subjected to violence and harassment, both physical and online harassment nowadays, because technology is also coming up. So this somewhere deters them from entering into politics or speaking openly about various issues. And also the unequal opportunities, unequal resources, unequal opportunities which are available to them from the family point of view, from the community point of view, also constrains them to enter into the politics. So this in mind, we thought the 33% reservation has enabled women to come into leadership positions. But then on a larger note, has it enabled larger amount of women to come into the political processes and voice their opinions and their requirements as to what they want? So therein we have something called Grama Sabha at the village level. Now, Grama Sabha is a cornerstone of grassroots democracy in India, which empowers villagers to actively engage in the governance processes of their communities and also foster a sense of ownership and responsibility towards the local development. Now, this is a forum, Grama Sabha, the village assembly, where all the persons who are above 18 years of age, who are living in the village and whose names are included in the electoral rolls for the Panchayat, they qualify to be the members of that Grama Sabha, and they can participate in the Grama Sabha, the village assembly. They can discuss about various issues concerning the development of that particular village, and then decisions can be taken in the Grama Sabha. So the decision taken by the Grama Sabha cannot be annulled by any other body. That power only has the power to annul any decision taken by the Grama Sabha rests with the Grama Sabha only. So Grama Sabha is a forum wherein various decisions are taken, because it's a decision-making body, and because people from across different sections, which includes both men and women, which includes both men and women from marginalized sections which includes men and women from different religions, different caste groups. So this includes a lot of inclusivity when it comes to Grama Sabha, and then a lot of transparency and accountability is also ensured because of the Grama Sabha, which is an open forum where issues which matter to them are discussed and decisions are taken in front of everybody. So in such kind of Grama Sabha, which is mandated to be organized by the Gram Panchayat, the participation of women often is observed to be very, very limited. So we thought, what should be done to improve the participation of women, because ensuring that women also come into the Grama Sabha, which is a very wider forum, ensures that their voices are also heard. So with this background, with the issue of less participation of women in the Grama Sabhas, we thought we will take up a project. So we have collaborated with UNICEF in taking up a project on mainstreaming the roles of Mahila Sabhas and Bala Sabhas, the women's forums and the children's forums into the Gram Panchayat development planning preparation. So we tried to run this project in 5 different provinces of our country, namely Telangana, Assam, Sikkim, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. So together in collaboration with UNICEF and together in collaboration with the provinces and the state institutes of rural development and the local governance, we have organized the women's forums and the children's forums in around 30 Gram Panchayat, in around 30 villages. So I would like to discuss the findings of this particular project in the next slide. So if you look at Mahila Sabha, why should we be speaking about the Mahila Sabha or the women's forums? Although we have a village assembly, why should there be a specific women's assembly or the women's forum? Basically because the patriarchal systems and because of the various issues I have been discussing, it becomes extremely difficult for the women to come and openly speak about their issues and their concerns in the Grama Sabha. So having an exclusive Mahila Sabha always will be helpful to attract the women into the development planning processes. And also Mahila Sabha happens to be a meeting of exclusively women, so that they can freely share their experiences, they can freely discuss the issues, and they'll feel more comfortable while coming together and then discuss about those issues which would improve their lives. So with this in view, we thought Mahila Sabha should be organized as a prelude to Grama Sabha, wherein the women can be mobilized and see to it that they come together. And Mahila Sabhas also help in empowerment of women by giving voice and visibility to women, and also helping in a kind of leadership development, because they're organized by the women's forums. And this will also lead to the collective action from the women's groups. Being part of the Mahila Sabha also raises the awareness levels of women, because various issues are discussed in the Mahila Sabhas, and it will also cater to the community needs, because the needs and necessities of women in that particular village are also discussed, and various issues like livelihood opportunities which are available to the women are also discussed in the Mahila Sabhas, and a lot of cultural exchange also happens in these women's forums. And on the social impact side, you can see that gender inequality is also addressed, because a lot of women also become part of these governance structures and the political processes. It might also help in reducing the violence, because a single woman is not identified. It's a collective action. A lot of women come together. So that way, that strengthens them in opening up and giving voice to their concerns. And as I said, even for Mahila Sabha, there are some social barriers and structural barriers which we have observed, which will prevent them from coming into the Mahila Sabhas. So some of the barriers I have already mentioned. Some of the barriers which I have mentioned include the patriarchal norms which are existing, which inhibit them to come out of the house and openly participate in such kind of Mahila Sabhas. And then because of lack of awareness of the importance of what Mahila Sabha is all about, why they should participate in the Mahila Sabha. So that also limits their involvement to come forward and participate in the Mahila Sabha. And when you look at the structural barriers, the kind of funding which is available with the Gram Panchayats to organize such kind of meetings also is observed as one of the barriers which will inhibit women to come into the Mahila Sabhas. And because of lack of training and capacity building of elected representatives, they also try to fail to understand why women should be attracted, why women should be brought into such kind of forums. Yeah. Apart from that, the political interference, the external pressures from local authorities or the political parties also can stifle the independent voice and action within the Mahila Sabha. And if you look at the internal challenges, the internal conflicts, the caste dynamics, or the personal rivalries, also somewhere they inhibit women from coming into the Mahila Sabhas. And the emerging challenges, if we have observed through our project, one is the technological integration. Advanced technologies are available now. How do you leverage such kind of technology for better communication so as to mobilize the women to come into the Mahila Sabhas? How do you leverage such kind of technological gadgets or technological apps for knowledge sharing and for the resource mobilization? This is something which emerged as one of the challenges. Now, coming to actual implementation of the project, Ministry of Panchayati Raj or Ministry of Local Governance has already issued an advisory to all the states in the country, to all the provinces in our country, advising all the states to organize the Mahila Sabhas as a prelude to Grama Sabha. But despite that, all the states were not prepared or ready to organize Mahila Sabhas exclusively for women. So the 5 states which we have chosen, our first challenge was to approach the concerned departments and the concerned officials and to negotiate and then advocate and convincing them that as per the advisory of the ministry, why don't they try out on a pilot basis to organize the Mahila Sabha planning at the local government level. So we could convince at least 5 different provinces on that particular matter. And then the second challenge which we faced is, how do you mobilize the women to come into the Mahila Sabha? How do you convince them to come into the Mahila Sabha? So we have selected different platforms for mobilization process. The existing Gram Panchayat and the Gram Panchayat Sarpanch, the leader of that village council, is the first point of contact we went through. And the second platform which we have tapped is the self-help group movement is very active in our country. So in every village, we have n number of self-help groups. Women are organized in these self-help groups, and every village also have a village organization, which is a federation of all the self-help groups in that particular village. So most of the women are part of either the self-help groups or part of this village organization. So we try to tap the village organization, sensitize them about the need for organizing a Mahila Sabha and the need for women coming and participating and involving themselves in the Mahila Sabha. We also try to tap the mothers committees of Anganwadis. Anganwadi is a center which provides care for mothers and young children in the rural area. So mothers committees are part of those Anganwadis. So wherever mothers committees were available, we tried to educate them, we tried to sensitize them to mobilize women to come into the Mahila Sabhas. And we also tapped the health workers who happen to be the women. And we also went to the government schools and tried to sensitize the school children also, especially the girls, to bring their mothers into the, or to send their mothers into the Mahila Sabhas. So having taken care of the mobilization of women and saw to it that women come into the Mahila Sabha. But then the kind of entry point activities we have planned was, if you ask them to come straight away into the Mahila Sabha and discuss about various political issues, they might not be interested. So we thought we will organize a talk on certain issues which will be of some interest to them. So we organized talks on menstrual hygiene, on breast cancer, on various livelihood opportunities which are available to them. And we organized various competitions pertaining to their local culture. We celebrated the festivals, and this helped them to come together, and this also helped us in gathering the women and explaining them about the importance of Mahila Sabha as a part of these competitions, as a part of these talks. And then we started organizing the Mahila Sabhas. And when women started coming into the Mahila Sabhas, so when women started coming into the Mahila Sabhas, we initiated a healthy discussion as to what bothers them in that village, or what bothers them which concerns to their lives and what they think would go into the development planning of that particular village. So we identified that these are some of the issues which bother them across the provinces. The first thing which has come up is the gaps in the implementation of the schemes. Whether eligible beneficiaries in various schemes at the provincial level and the state government level are being included or not. And sanitation and drinking water, because most of the women are burdened with the issue of sanitation and drinking water. So whether adequate facilities are available for sanitation and drinking water, whether drinking water is available to them at the household level, whether toilets are available, whether the funding is available to build a toilet. So these are the issues which were close to their heart, which they have been voicing about. And apart from that, the infrastructural issues like street lighting, the roads in specific locations of the Gram Panchayat, which concerns their safety of women and girls, and issues of domestic violence, issues of child marriage, which are still prevalent in some pockets, and alcohol and drug prevention, which is again related to the domestic violence, also were voiced in these Mahila Sabhas. And because some part of the project also ran during the COVID period, so administering COVID vaccine was also one of the issues which was raised. And then ration cards are the entitlement cards of the household, which will ensure that various entitlements are guaranteed to them. So whether that kind of cards are being issued to the women or not. And then construction of community hall, wherein they can celebrate or they can gather there and discuss about various issues. And public toilets for women in marketplaces was another issue which has come up. And organizing special health camps and awareness camps for the elderly and differently abled was one of the demand which has emerged during these Mahila Sabhas. And apart from those issues which are focusing on the mental health. So they slowly started to understand the importance of mental health also. So they want some kind of services which will address the issues of mental health, which is again related to alcoholism and mobile addiction. And challenges when it comes to livelihoods in terms of marketing of their rural products, in terms of value addition of those rural products, and depleting water resources is another area of concern for them. And then poor operation and maintenance of water supply system, lack of awareness and solid and liquid waste management, especially the disposal of plastics, is another area which has emerged. Basically, the entire objective is to see that women come into the women's forums, voice their needs and concerns. And to these women's forums, which we have organized, the Mahila Sabhas, we have also invited the Gram Panchayat Sarpanch, the leader of that particular village council. So he is also part of the women's forum. So he gets an opportunity to listen to what bothers the women and what is their requirement, what is their need, and what needs to be integrated into the Gram Panchayat development plan. So Gram Panchayat development planning, which we call GPDP, is a planning exercise at the village level, which is a strategic document that outlines the development priorities and goals for the specific Gram Panchayat. So this plan basically covers various aspects of development such as infrastructure, agriculture, healthcare, education, sanitation, employment generation, environmental conservation, etc. So the plan includes the socio-economic profile of the village. It includes the priorities of the community in the village level. And what are the sector-wise development plans? What are the requirements? What are the sector-wise development plans? How do you mobilize the resources for these development plans? And the implementation. How do you reach are identified? So the objective, our objective was to see that whatever priorities emerged in the Mahila Sabhas, they need to be integrated into such kind of development planning, which is mandatory at every village level. And and that we ensured by seeing that the head of that village council, the Sarpanch, and the president of the village Panchayat is part of this women's forums, and he notes down what are all the priorities which are emerged. And at the end of the preparation of the Gram Panchayat development plan, we ensured that whatever has emerged out of the women's forums is also included in that planning exercise. But some of the challenges we have encountered in organizing Mahila Sabhas included, because villagers were not aware of the significance of the Mahila Sabha. So mobilizing them is the first challenge, as I said. And even after coming to the women's forums, making them speak and making them openly express their concerns about safety also required some time. So organizing one women's forum will not help. So organizing women's forum multiple times with a gap of 2 or 3 months in between would help them in coming into these women's forums and slowly opening up and discussing what they want. And women from vulnerable or poorest households do not attend these Mahila Sabhas because of the fear of loss of livelihoods. And we have also observed that even if the issues are discussed in the Mahila Sabha, women somehow do not believe that they can be resolved. Because many a times they say we have expressed our concerns, but they have not been met. So that kind of negative attitude or resentment among women is also one of the challenges which we had to face. And we had to convince them that this might not the case. This might not be the case with all the issues which have been emerging in the women's forums. And in some instances, we have also observed that there was a difficulty for women to come to these women's forums because some of the villages within the Gram Panchayat are situated slightly away from the place of meeting. So for them to come from a distance, investing their time, investing their resources, and also trying to see proper transportation is available was also one of the challenges which we had to face. And coupled with it, the insufficient funds which are available with the Gram Panchayats to resolve the resolutions which have emerged in the women's forums. Given the limited resources within the Gram Panchayat, within the village council, and given the limited kind of capacities they have to include everything in the development planning. So this also added as one of the constraints to see that whatever emerged in the women's forum is also brought into the development plan. So these are some of the photographs of the women's forums which we have organized. These are some more photographs. Some of the entry points which you can see, some of the competitions which have been organized. So if you look at the final outcome of what Mahila Sabhas have catered to, the first thing we can say is that women are aware of their eligibility for various state and central government schemes. Because women's forums enable them to question the relevant departments about non-coverage of eligible beneficiaries. And women are also aware of their rights because in this open forum, a lot of issues are discussed. And this also ensures that women come and participate and involve the women in planning, in the local level planning. And Gram Panchayats, the village councils also now slowly start to understand that women also have certain issues. We need to prioritize the women's issues, and it becomes extremely important that women's issues are made part of the development planning exercise. And we have also observed that because women are also there, group of women are there, and then the head of the village council is also there. So certain issues are discussed and are resolved on the spot itself. And we could also observe that the convergence approach between various line departments at the village level also has come out as one of the outcome of these women's forums which have been organized. And women and children have become more aware of their protection laws, and elected representatives are more aware of the women and children development issues also, because these issues are openly discussed in front of them. And this has also improved the Gram Panchayat functionaries, the elected representatives' capacity to enhance the systems and processes to improve the enrollment, coverage, and access to various government schemes, because they know what are the gaps in the implementation of these government schemes from the perspective of the women. So that helps them to identify the gaps and also plug those gaps which have been identified. apart from Mahila Sabhas, clubbed with the women's forums, we also organize the children's forums. So in the children's forums, basically, children's forum is a children's council where we try to children who are um, above 10 years of age. 10 to 18 years is the range which we have taken. And although this does not have any constitutional mandate, we try to negotiate with the provinces to try out to see that these Bala Sabhas, children's Sabhas are also tried out. So in all these, we also organize the children's forums or the children's assemblies wherein we brought the children together, because it's important that we listen to all the stakeholders for the development planning at the village level, not just the women and the men, because children are also part of the development planning process. And we observed that these kind of children's forums provided an opportunity for the children to come outside the classrooms and try to engage in environments which will develop not only leadership qualities, but which will also develop the critical thinking, the communication between the children, and peer-to-peer learning and interactive activities. Again, we have followed the same modus operandi in organizing the children's forums also. We try to chip in with the entry point activities where we organize a lot of competitions surrounding around the drama, then dance competition, organizing various talks which are of interest to the children, celebrating festivals. So through these entry point activities, we have gathered the children, and then we started about talking about what Bala Sabha is all about. Why is it important that they should come together and discuss what they want, what they require, and how do you ensure that their requirements are also part of the development process or the development planning at the village level. So some of the issues which emerged out of these children forums include the kind of infrastructure which is available in the schools, especially the girl children. They had a lot of focus on the separate toilet, providing separate toilets for the girl children at the school level, providing drinking water facility, and the quality of the midday meal, which is provided in the schools across the provinces in India. And they also spoke about provision of playground, provision of play material for them. And they were also interested in having a library at the village level, having an auditorium, and the kind of facilities which are available in the boarding hostels. And they also spoke about providing bus shelters at the school bus stops, and issues like child labor, which are prevalent in some pockets, and issues like child marriages also came for discussion. And sanitation needs of girl children is also one of the issue which has come up. And issues like dropout rate of the girls and dropout rate of the children, why do they drop out, and how Gram Panchayat can mobilize those dropout children and see to it that they come back to the schools. And the attendance of students and teachers was also one of the issues which emerged. The fencing of the school, the safety in the schools, and the child protection issues like child abuse, discrimination of the children, eve teasing of the girls. Then there was a lot of demand for career counseling also, and issues like increasing drug addiction and suicide among the children also came into the discussion. And when it comes to girl children, lack of disposal system for sanitary napkins was also one of the issues which have emerged. So one of the major challenges which we have faced in organizing the children's forums was not very proactive approach from the state governments, and also from the village panchayat, the village council also. This acted as a hindrance as to why boys and girls, why children should be involved in the entire democratic processes, why children should be involved in the governance processes is the first question, which we had to very convincingly answer them that it's also important that you bring children into the forums. So they were skeptical that bringing children into the forums like these might politicize such kind of forums also. So there was a lot of reluctance from the parents to send their children to such kind of forums. So these are some of the photographs of children coming into those forums and then trying to speak out as to what bothers them, what concerns them, what is their need and what is their requirement. These are some of the entry point activities which are being held for the children. So when you look at what can be the impact of these children's forums, children are also exposed to the local governance processes. There is an increased awareness among the children about their Gram Panchayat, about the concept of what SDGs are all about, and what are the various government programs which are available to them, what are the various issues faced by the children at the local government level, and bringing them into such forums and making them speak also increase their confidence. And we also made a mock Gram Panchayat in these forums, and we have given leadership positions to various children who have participated in these forums. So this also somewhere helped them to hone their leadership capacities and skills. And we got a opportunity to hear the children's voices. To these children's forums also, we have invited the Gram Panchayat, the elected representatives, the leader of the elected representatives, the president of that Gram Panchayat is also part of this children's forums. So they also get to know what are the requirements of children, what is the perspective of children, what are the opinions of children, what bothers them. On the other hand, you also see the village council and the local grassroots level governance structures are also sensitized on the child rights, the right to survival, the right to development, their safety issues, their protection, and the development. So they become more sensitive. They are also sensitized to maybe take at least some of the priorities of the children into the entire development planning and allocate some resources for what they want. And you could also see that enabling the children to participate into the entire local level planning makes the entire planning exercise more vibrant. So that's in brief about the project which we have implemented on women's forums and children's forums. So I will stop here, and I would welcome your views and comments and any questions.
Thank you so much, Madam, for your very nice and informative presentation. Thank you so much. And before questioning session, I would like to our Director Research, sir, to take the session. Sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, thank you for asking me to intervene here as a chair to moderate the open session. I would like to congratulate Dr. N.V. Madhuri. It's a very comprehensive presentation on enhancing women's political participation through Mahila Sabha, which is a women's forum. And obviously, political participation it's very important. And I would say if we talk about women empowerment, then without substantial engagement in politics in all the countries, empowerment cannot be ensured. If we look at economic empowerment, for example, in all dimensions of economic empowerment, politics is there. Therefore, today, as International Women's Day, it's a kind of like out of 365 days, one day is picked for campaigning for women empowerment, and also bringing the issues that women are behind, bringing the issues that our mindset do not allow women to participate in different dimensions of society, politics, economics. Therefore, different types of forum formed by women to kind of like to make them united, as we say, like united we stand. So often I see like in case of women empowerment, in case of different, movement for women's right, I see a significant, a substantial part of the women they don't support. They say no, our job is not to go there. Our job is like inside house. We have to do household work. It's man's job, and that's the patriarchal system, and that's how we have set up and we have set the tradition. This is one big problem for women empowerment, I would say. And if I look at like Indian subcontinent in the context of Bangladesh, those who are educated among male, those who are educated, polite, and also like knowledgeable, they will not go to politics often. The average tendency is like those who are meritorious, those who are well behaved, those who care for the society and state more than others. They will not go to the politics because in the politics there are some elements that we don't like some violence and also like support from some like local terrorists, something like that. So in Bangladesh, there is a local government. In that local government, the government is trying to involve women. There are some reserved seats for women. But once they are there, then male counterparts are sidelining them. They're not having them playing a role. So if I look at like say positions in Bangladesh, last 27 years, at the top position, prime minister is women. But still, we know that at the grassroots level, there are violence against women. And in terms of policies to support women, to bring equality, we are not there. Even in case of like formulation of policies supporting women, supporting affirmative actions, we see vehement opposition from male counterparts, even though top posts are by women. As I see in this paper in India, contestants are 5 to 12%. It is supposed to be 50%, since 50-50. So they are not contesting. And if you look at the contestant, like the winners of seats, it's also like 5 to 12%. So if they stand, then they are getting support. But the problem is like the environment is such that those who are educated men, they are not going to politics. And that's why like in economics, we call Gresham's law, bad money drives out good money. In politics also, bad people are driving out good people. And if an educated man cannot stand, then in this background of society, how do we expect women to come up and then be candidates and fight against those who are dominating the system now? So these are, I think, like these are the problems, but we have to go out of it. We have to change our mindset. In Bangladesh, like if we look at women participation rate in labor force, 36%. That means 36% of the women, they think they should go and participate in work. And 64% still they think they shouldn't go outside. But if we want to see our country, our region as a developed region, we must have 100% women. Like, okay, we'll work inside, we'll work outside. And like women, if I confine myself inside, then political campaign is outside. You have to go outside. You have to have conversations with others. You have to disseminate your philosophy, your political belief, and then you have to campaign. But if you stay inside within walls, then it is also restricting participation in politics. So, this paper is very comprehensive, I see, because India is a broad, big country, and the different culture, different caste, and also different income strata. So if I can understand India, maybe Indian subcontinent and Asia, we can understand. In this crucial day, getting Madhuri being so comprehensive about women empowerment and women political participation, I'm very thankful to her. And I see like Dr. R. Makaramani, she is also our expert, CIRDAP expert. Also, she is our in one of our programs. She was the head, gender and empowerment, something like that. So I'm sure that she might have some insight on today's presentation. So first I will call Dr. Mekaramani to intervene, and then I'll go to our IRD expert. Dr. Mekaramani, if you have any thing to say.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Dr. Mayuri. Your presentation is something that gives me a big heart, and to hear that there are a lot of progress. I see the number that make me smile, even though you present a lot of something that have to be done in the future, and I hope that you continue to doing it. I am glad that you do something not only for the women, but for the children. A lot of projects for the children is more important now because they are our future. And if we take care, good care of both boys and girls, and they will be in the next generation that live together with no bias at all. We cannot correct what happened today. So something we have to let go. Don't be taking something that you know that is cannot change at all in our life. In that moment, we looking to the future of our people, your people, because India is such a huge country and a lot of intelligence people. I think that what you do, I expect to see more of your initiative. And I think that your information today give me a very happy to celebrate a Woman Day tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now I would call on our IRD expert. Pakistan. And hand and or start speaking if only one, and provide your comments. One thing I feel like when I see my son and my daughter, I never want my daughter to be weaker than my son. And I want to see that my daughter can bargain anywhere, but my daughter can get fair share of her anywhere. So if I can think of like, okay, all the women in the world, okay, in that sense, then I can see that man's mindset will change first. I'm sorry. Somehow I got, yeah. The problem is like when I consider my daughter, I want to see her to be strong. But when I see my daughter-in-law, wife of my son, maybe I want to see a different dynamics. That's why, like in personal life and in family life, if we are fair, and if we want to see that fairness all over the world, then that change of mindset may help us. And after that, there is a joke in Bangladesh like, okay, I see Shahbaz Hussain, I'll come back to him. One of the joke is like, one lady is saying, my daughter is doing well because her husband listens to her, and there is no problem. But the problem with is my son. He always listens to his wife. So this is the mindset of that we want to see. Yeah, Dr. Shahbaz Hussain, he was with CIRDAP in research. Director of research, I guess. Shahbaz bhai, you can go ahead with your comments. The floor is yours. Dr. Shahbaz Hussain, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yeah. How Professor Dr. Bilal?
Yes, we are
Nice.
fine. Yeah.
Nice to hear you, and also nice to be present in this wonderful presentation. I really thanks the presenter. Let me also, first of all, just congratulate the International Women's Day first, and thanks for the CIRDAP organizing such an excellent event to share the knowledge among the member countries. Really, we are grateful to you. Maybe I really appreciate India is doing a lot regarding this disparity among the genders. I can say that. So and I can see a lot of achievements are there, and also I could see the projects and that this Madame is explaining and sharing. I really appreciate them. But maybe just a small question or query I can ask from the Madam. So I could see that this occupied seat, as Madam told that, it is almost 45%, but by the women. But I could see the literacy rate in India has a lot of disparity. I think for men it is 85, and for the women it is 70. So when the disparity, you see the disparity of the literacy, but we wanted to bring this women to occupy almost half seat of this all levels that Madam told, that almost all levels. So I could see this, there are some projects also doing capacity buildings or these things, but how it is possible that the literacy rate is a little bit big gap, but the occupied seat almost same with the men? So is any project to decrease this disparity, Madam?
Yes, sir. Your observation that there is a gender gap between the literacy rates of men and women is correct. But then, as a country, we have been working to improve the literacy levels of both men and women. We have brought about a lot of programs, a lot of schemes to address the declining literacy levels of women. So in fact, when you look at the situation post-independence and the situation right now, we have made a lot of progress. So the literacy levels have drastically increased. So we could succeed. I would look at it from a positive point of view. We could succeed in increasing the literacy levels up to 70%, more than 70%. So I'm sure the policies which we have in place, the programs which we have in place will definitely help us in improving the literacy levels of women. But although literacy levels, the gender gap between the literacy levels is one of the constraints in bringing the women into the women's forums, but the kind of investment we put on the training and capacity building of the elected representatives, and the kind of investment we put on the self-help group movement, somewhere helped us in making the women aware of various developmental contexts, in making the women aware of various developmental issues, in mobilizing the women to come into such kind of forums. So you have a constraint in terms of literacy levels on one side, but you also have platforms like self-help groups, their federations, which will enable women to come into these kind of forums.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Muhammad.
Yeah. Thank you, sir, to be with us. One question to Dr. Madhuri. One is like, in terms of agricultural participation, I know that in India, across state, it varies. But in terms of agricultural participation rate, how do you link with like you, I mean, political participation and agricultural participation? Is there any correlation between these two?
Yeah, maybe not direct correlation, but definitely there is a correlation between both of them, because the more the agricultural participation, it means that the more is the economic empowerment of women, right? And the more the economic empowerment of women, maybe that also acts as an impetus for the women to come into the political platforms. So because, as I said, bringing women to the Women's Forum itself has become a challenging because of the fear of loss of livelihood. What happens if I don't go to the work? I lose a wage on that particular day. And what do I gain by coming to the Women's Forum is one of the questions we had to face often. So increasing the participation of women in the agricultural activities, bringing them more into the agricultural sector, in a way, indirectly will also result in increasing the political participation of women.
I was asking like, why you say indirectly? Because if I am in agricultural production, then I am facing certain constraints about input supply, about pricing.
Exactly.
We see farmers movement in India.
Right.
Even though it's for farmers, like price or production and support, all those things, but still they are playing role in broader political picture. So if women are in agricultural sphere, then isn't it like they will get like forced to kind of pressurized to get into mainstream politics more?
Yeah, it might act as one of the factors. It might act as one of the factors.
One of the factor. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other intervention? I see a huge participation today, and definitely I expect many interventions, and that's why I'm kind of trying to not ask many questions from my part. Otherwise, I have to ask because I have many questions. It seems like Shahbaz Bhai, he has a question again.
Madam, thank you very much for your nice explanation. But one more question, maybe, all we are just here, it is just linked to the CIRDAP. CIRDAP is for the rural development. So today we discussed about actually just women development, I can say. Have you any data just whether these women occupy the old seat, as you mentioned, just came from the rural area? Because information regarding that actually percents of the women are coming from the rural area. For us, a little bit, I can say, important, as we are the expert. Thank you, madam.
Isn't it like Gram Sabha and Mohila Sabha is focused on rural areas, Madhuri?
Yeah. I mean, whatever initiative I have been mentioning, it's exclusively in the rural areas. So whatever I have been presenting, it's focused entirely on the rural areas and only in the field of rural development.
And also, we know that another like IRD model from India that we are displaying in Bangladesh and CIRDAP. It's like self-help group and then umbrella organization of them, and that's how we are trying to energize women's power in economics, in politics, in social sphere, right?
Right.
Shahbaz Bhai, do you want to ask any supplementary question?
No, actually, it was my concern whether they are coming totally from the rural area or maybe not. I wanted to make clear that one.
No, it's totally from the rural area.
Yeah, it's like the word gram in Indian subcontinent. It's rural.
Rural, yeah.
Gram. So anything gram sarkar means village government, something like that. Yeah. Thank you. Then I see someone else trying to ask question. Yeah, the floor is open. So please just unmute yourself and ask question.
Can I ask the question?
Yeah, yes, Dr. Mihir Roy. Okay, you can ask, and after that, I'll go to Indonesia. Yeah, please.
I'm Dr. Mihir Roy, faculty member, Bangladesh Academy for Rural Development. Can I ask the question?
Yes, please.
Dr. Mihir Roy, faculty member, Bangladesh Academy for Rural Development. Yes, please. Dr. Mihir Roy, faculty member, Bangladesh Academy for Rural Development. I have very much intensively listening to the presentations of Dr. Madhuri of NIRD regarding his presentation on evolving women's political participation through Mahila Sabha. That means village assembly or village group, etc. Something. And this is a very comprehensive presentation, and probably from his presentation, what I understood is a extension of the project from the Ministry of Panchayati and also linked with the UNICEF. You may be a donor in the project. And it's a comprehensive presentation. In every aspect of the rural development part, especially the women's Gram Sabha and the political process are highlighted there. Now, my observation is that the self-help groups that are organized around the Gram Sabha, these are naturally an informal groups, not a groups with a registered group like cooperatives or something else. If I understood that it's an informal groups, yes, which I call the self-help group, etc. Self-help. So such type of groups and their experiences in the subcontinent, especially Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Pakistan, etc. There are many our experiences regarding the women's participation, women's mobilization, women's political process participation, etc. And we have a very mixed regarding the women's approach to this political process. For example, there are a lot of changes before. If you consider the case of Bangladesh, we have as many as probably 9 ministers in the present government cabinet in Bangladesh for the first time. There are also 15 women seat in the parliament reserve seat. In spite of that, there are other women who are participated directly and also elected in the parliament. There are a lot of changes over the years in the Bangladesh context, even also in the India, etc. Still then, there are a lot of work to be done. And especially the barrier that women's participation in the political process, there are something barriers also mentioned by Madhuri. And he also, regarding his barrier, now one question to Madhuri, to be a participant in the political process, he or she must be a member of a political party. It may be a national, it may be a regional party, or it may be a local party, or it may be any other type of party. The whole political process is centered around the political party. And to be a member of the political party, there is also a process. Now, a woman, if he wants to be participating in the political process, he must have some, he must have to fulfill some criteria. First thing is his educational background, his quality of leadership, etc. In our subcontinent, in most of the cases, we found that in the political process, those who are leading the country, they are achieved it through the inheritance, etc. Their fathers, forefathers, they are the politician. They are now the politician. But the third generation politician in our subcontinent, it is very difficult to find. It is very difficult to find. So to be participating in the political process, especially the woman, must have to upgrade herself to be a member of the political party as per the constitutions of the party's mandate, etc. etc. If he or she can fulfill this criteria, then she can participate and upgrade and participate in the political. But there is some crisis there. The rate of growth of this upgradation of the women in the political process, there is the rate of growth is very slow. As a result, though it is increasing day by day, but it will take a lot of times to be accountable or to be a presentable number in the political process or in the political system to represent the country. Though Bangladesh is a unique country, women leadership are there. India is also something else. Women leadership has changed India's context, etc. We have very glaring examples of our subcontinent, etc. So there is nothing to be worried. We are working, and still we are facing problem, and we are also solving the problem, and we are overcoming the problem. And if such type of reports are gone in the present stream, we hope that the situation will improve in the years to come. So thank you, Madhuri, for this presentation, and I have learned many things from it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Roy. Madhuri, do you have anything to say, or if you want to
Yeah.
respond? Yeah, please.
Yeah, nothing much. As a response to what Dr. Mihir Roy was mentioning, in India, at the Gram Panchayat level, at the village level, the kind of elections we have are non-political, in the sense that the candidates usually have affiliation to some political party, but they don't contest in the name of any political party. So that way, at the village level, it is apolitical, whatever elections we organize. And the question regarding the self-help groups, whether they are registered or not, the self-help groups here are registered under the Mutually Aided Cooperative Societies Act. So the federations are also registered. And one trend which we could observe is that the self-help groups are also self-help groups and their federations, the leaders at the federation level are also, because of their leadership positions, because of the qualities they develop by occupying those leadership positions, they also look to contest in the Gram Panchayat elections at the local level. So many of them, we have seen that if you are a leader at the village federation level of the self-help groups, you become more confident, you become more aware, and your self-esteem goes up, and you try to come into the political arena also. So the political participation coming from the federations of the self-help groups, or the leaders coming from the self-help groups occupying the leadership positions in the Gram Panchayat is also one of the trends which is emerging in the India. So I think that briefly answers his viewpoint. I think you have to unmute. You're not being heard.
Oh, I'm not. I see. Yeah, one thing is like, as we display one of the rural development model from India, a National Rural Livelihood Mission. So in that one, we know that there are self-help groups, and for each of the groups, there are some resource commitment from the government. And also like the umbrella organizations of the self-help groups, they have some certain resources. Also, they are trained to, to make it easy for them to access like formal credits and also access to other logistics for livelihood operations activities. So in this one, I think it's only with the dimension of political participation, right?
Right.
There is no, livelihood type of, activities there.
Right, right.
Okay. So these are, as Dr. Roy was mentioning about self-help group, I know that that self-help group has some direct economic, implications and in terms of support also. So these are two distinct one. Yeah. Thank you for this clarification. And now Indonesia. Titas from Indonesia. Yes, please.
Good morning, everyone. My voice is clear to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Wait a minute. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm Titus from Indonesia, and exactly in Village Administrative Training Center of Yogyakarta, Ministry of Home Affairs. The topic of this webinar is, I think, interesting. Thank you for Dr. Madhuri for sharing your experience. Maybe there is something I would like to ask. What about the political security in the village? Sometimes in village, there are still threats or situations that seem to limit women political participation. Maybe in India, can you explain that about the political security for the women? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, when you look at the gender inequality when it comes to political participation, in my presentation, I was discussing about various various factors which influence that kind of gender inequality, starting from the patriarchal mindset, starting from the traditions and culture, the gender roles which are rooted in those tradition and culture, like the director research was also mentioning. So women feel that they should be confined to their homes, because the gender role emphasize that they have to take care of the home front, they have to take care of the children, and they also have to go out to work. So they have multiple responsibilities. So the double burden of the work often constrains them to come into the political arena. And added to that, if you look at the vulnerable sections of the poor women, so they seldom have any opportunities or resources that will enable them to come into the political arena and compete at the Gram Panchayat level, because they also need to spend on the elections. So that somehow excludes them to come into the political arena. So apart from patriarchal mindset, the culture, the social norms which pull them back, you also have the literacy levels which are being discussed, the education levels, their lack of awareness. So all these factors inhibit them from coming into the political processes. And there is also an instance where when women come into the political processes, when they occupy the leadership position in the governing structures, and they start actively discharging their responsibilities and duties, and then actively participating, you also see instances of violence against women. So somewhere that kind of instances also deter other women to come into these kind of political processes. So there are multiple factors which constrain women coming into the political arena.
If I add, like, say, in our system now in Indian subcontinent, I don't know, in Indonesia, Malaysia maybe also, like winners take all. So if you contest and if you lose, then what happens? You are kind of enemy of those who have owned and those who have control of the resources. Sometimes people think, okay, if I am not neutral, I'm not involved with any politics, I can go to the government officials or the local politicians for some services if I need, and they may consider favorably. But if I am a political activist, then I'll be kind of like marked that, okay, I'm in opposition and I'll be blocked from everywhere, something like that. So that kind of insecurity sometimes restrict political involvement. I don't know what is in Indonesia. So, but I have a question about the dominant model in Indonesia, like village administration. Is there any forum like Mohila Sabha or something like that in Indonesia, where women can express their opinion and women can form their kind of like support for any kind of their demand? Did you get my point? It does, Mohammed. Did you get my point? In for women to, I guess he's having difficulty to hear me. Okay, I saw Ocean Matthew trying to say something. Anyone else? Again, the floor is open. Yeah. Okay. So if nobody else, then it's 12:23. We almost we have 6-7 minutes. If anybody wants to have any comment, yeah. Okay. If no comment, then I will get back to Dr. Sharani. You can conclude. Yeah. And finally, I'm very thankful to Dr. Madhuri and also all of you to have your patience and also to have your feedback, comments on this presentation in this occasion. Thank you all. Dr. Sharon.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, dear all participants. We are very happy. Today, there are so many people, and now we are going to conclude this session. And thank you so much. We hope next webinar we'll see you, all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Usha. Thank you for giving me an opportunity. And once again, wishing each one of you who are participating in this webinar series a very happy International Women's Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Madhuri.
Madhuri.
Thank
Hope
you.
to see you more
Dr.
in the
Usha,
project
can I just,
with the children.
Sure, sure, ma'am.
Dr.
Sure.
Usha,
Ah,
See you
Vasanti.
more.
I see more
Bye-bye.
faces.
yes, Dr. Usha, I just wanted to say happy Women's Day to all the women who are participating in this very, I think, very interesting webinar organized by CIRDAP. Unfortunately, I had a program. I'm here in Mysore. So I wanted to attend. I just found time and I found that I'm there, only able to join towards the end of this program. I think I missed the very interesting webinar, talk by Dr. Madhuri. Anyway, I would like to wish all the women who have participated and everybody a very happy Women's Day tomorrow. And I hope the time comes soon when we don't have to celebrate the Women's Day. Every day should be ours. That's what I keep telling on a Women's Day. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you Dr. Usha. I'm sorry, I just butted in towards the end. Thank you. And greetings to you also, Dr. Udin.
Yes. I'm very thankful that we at the end we can see your face.
Thank you, Vasanti. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shahbaz bhai. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can end here.